Today's episode is brought to you by Restaurant.com. With Restaurant.com, you can save at thousands of restaurants across the country with just a few clicks. Their dining deals range from $5 to $100, never expire, and cost you a fraction of the face value. Dinner has never been easier with Restaurant.com. Used for dine-in, takeout, or delivery.
Restaurant.com is offering our listeners 50% off their next purchase by going to www.restaurant.com/podcast. That's www.restaurant.com/podcast for 50% off your next purchase. Restaurant.com is the best deal every meal.
Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 242. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. And one more note before we get into our show. We are giving away one copy of Cyberpunk 2077 for the system of your choice, PS4, Xbox One, or PC. To enter this wonderful contest, you must be following us on YouTube. You must like this video and drop a comment on what you're looking forward to in Cyberpunk in the comments section. You can enter once per episode up until the launch of the game. And finally, this giveaway is open to U.S. residents only. Good luck to all who enter. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan. It's Election Day Robinson.
What's going on, man? I mean,
well,
it's Election Day when when this show drops.
Yep, it's dropping on Tuesday, biggest day of the year.
But we're recording a little bit early. This episode.
We are.
Yeah, we both have plans for Halloween weekend.
Yep.
So we have to get this out a little early. So we're missing a day from the top gaming news of last week. So let's just get this out the way. Oh my God, the Switch Pro! It's here. They announced it. The one day we totally took off for a mini Halloween vacation, and they announced the Switch Pro. It's everything I wanted on the handheld.
The Switch
4K,
Pro.
120 frames per second. It's everything I wanted. It's amazing.
29 teraflops of power. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
I didn't know you could fit that many flops in a small device. It's crazy.
Listen. Trust in Shintaro Furukawa, because he knows what's up. He's writing that ship. He's taking him
Sony
into.
Announced the Vita 2.
Oh my God! I know, and the Xbox VR. I called it.
Wow. Wow.
Right.
Okay, so we got that out the way, just in case they announce those things.
We got them all covered.
Yo, and Stadia is entered the console business. They said screw the streaming stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna make a box.
They have a Stadia box.
That's the one thing I can guarantee you won't happen.
There will be a PSVR. I mean, there will be a PS Vita 2, a Xbox VR, or a Switch Pro before there will be a Stadia box.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned the PSVR as a quick little aside. I was reading something today. This is the president of PlayStation is has said in no uncertain terms that a new version of the VR is not in the cards for Sony currently. So don't expect anything this year or next year or anytime in the near future. Get that adapter. Get that adapter for the PS5 so you can use your old PSVR headset from PS4. You can get it for free, but you have to go online and request one because it's not going to be in the box.
Okay, so let me just say, as Jim Carrey would say, as Joe Biden on Saturday Night Live, that's a bunch of malarkey.
It's topical. What is a bunch of malarkey? What's a bunch of malarkey?
There will be a PSVR 2 in the works for either 2021 or 2022.
They said it's not on the cards in the near future, man. I'm just telling you what the president said.
I'm telling you, they don't. It's a bunch of malarkey.
All right.
Not the truth. I'm telling you what's happening.
Okay, old Joe.
It's fake news. It's fake. It's fake news. It's fake news. There will be a PSVR 2 within the next 2 years.
There you go. And you know what? I hope you're right, Dan, because I love my VR. It's fantastic.
So Dave, usually at the beginning of the show, I ask you, how was your weekend? Mm-hmm. Because we record sort of at the end of the weekend.
Well, you can't say that now. Weekend hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, weekend is the future. It's the future. Dave, it's the future.
Uh-huh.
So, what do you got planned for the weekend?
Well, yeah, and I mentioned this a little bit on our Saturday Morning Retro podcast, which will be dropping this Saturday, or it will already have been dropped because it's coming out on Tuesday, so it'll be out that Saturday. So if you missed it, go back and listen to that episode because it was definitely a good one.
That's a great episode. We talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, the video game, and you get my thoughts on it, and we talked about Demon's Crest
for the Super Nintendo. A fantastic Ghouls and Ghosts spinoff.
And if you know anything about me as a collector, I'll have it in the collection at the end of the year.
Oh, that I will 100% agree with. You will definitely have it because when you say you're going to get it, you're going to get it.
I've thought about it. I almost bought it when it was because you played it on Nintendo Online, and I usually like to buy when Nintendo announces their online games. I usually go and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a little bit more money.
It's expensive. Let's not mince words. The game's expensive.
Well, compared to any other normal games, right? It's double the price of a new game. I usually buy it. I'm definitely going to get it. I would say I would get it towards the end. I'll get it before 2021. Put it out. So anyway, Dave.
So
what are you going to do? What do you got planned this weekend?
Well, I got a little Halloween party. Funny enough, it's a small group of friends going upstate. We're all good. We're clean. We're tested. None of us have COVID. Knock on wood. But we're doing that.
COVID test. You passed all the COVID tests by 65.
Passed all the COVID tests. That's right.
You got a 65 on your COVID test.
Listen. D is still passing. All right. D is still a passing grade. Not in my high school though. My high school was you had to get a C+ or higher. They didn't mess around. 75 or higher.
It just doesn't transfer to other schools.
Right. So yeah. So I am
leave the state. It doesn't transfer.
Yeah. Right. So I am dressing up because there's a Halloween party and that's what you got to do. Work is having a little thing, so I'm going to participate in that. And I got a weekend Halloween party because Halloween's on a Saturday this year, folks, and it doesn't happen often. So you know what? F you, COVID. You're not going to stop me from celebrating. I'm still going to do it. Right. I'm not going to go to the city parade. Well, mostly because it's canceled, but also because of COVID and can't have people hanging around. But I'm going to go not as a video game character this year, Dan. I'm going as the rock legend. Rest in peace, David Bowie. Yes, I'm going as Ziggy Stardust, baby. The thin white Duke. That is my costume this year.
Well,
it's going to be great.
You said you were going as the rock legend.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Because for Halloween this year, I'm just going to go as the Rock's little bro.
You're gonna go as Pebble?
No, Boulder. I'm Boulder.
No, Boulder's your guy. Yeah, Boulder. I think Pebble's a little more fitting.
Oh, whatever.
Tiny stone.
Shaved head. Okay, I'm at my Terramana. I'm gonna have my tight sweater on. Okay, and I'm gonna be binge watching the Haunting Hill House, because I binge watched the Haunting Bly Manor on Netflix a couple of days ago.
You
So I'm gonna
did?
binge watch
Okay.
Hill House over the
All
weekend,
right.
which was the first Haunting. It's weird because Netflix has it sort of as like season one,
Mm-hmm.
but there's not gonna be a second season. There's just like different haunting stories, right?
Oh, so it's like an anthology.
Sort of, yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they have it as season one, which doesn't make any sense because there most likely is not going to be a season two of Bly Manor or Hill
Oh,
House.
well, they
Because
always do that. Like
there'll be
even if it's like a documentary thing or whatever, right? They'll have like season one, right? Because it's broken up into episodes. So
yeah.
they just kind of do that de facto. Yeah.
So so I saw Bly Manor because it was like top 10 on Netflix.
Yeah.
Amazing. It was amazing. Listen, if you can get through the first two episodes because they're a little slow,
All right.
it ramps up, and I trust me, at the last two episodes, give you the twist that you weren't even seeing coming in the first two episodes.
Ooh.
Right? You can
Nice.
probably call it as you watch it, but
Uh-huh.
like if you just watched the first two episodes, you would have never thought.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
And I watched Bly Manor was the latest one that came out in 2020. Hill
Yep.
House was like from 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one, but it has no correlation. It's not like you need to watch that one to understand Bly Manor.
Right. Right.
It has a lot of the same, not the same. It has the same actors, they're not the same character.
Right.
Which
Exactly.
is
Exactly.
so weird. So I definitely want to watch Hill House, which started it all, The Haunting. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I have I have a huge pumpkin I still haven't carved yet. I've carved.
Well, you better hurry up then. You only got a couple days left.
Trust me, if you listen to this episode, the big pumpkin, the huge pumpkin, it's carved.
great pumpkin?
And it looks scary, and it's
Nice.
not rotten like the small pumpkins that I carved like 2 weeks ago that are in
Well.
the window. So,
Oh,
all right, this has gone off the rails. Let's bring it back, Dave.
has it?
Dave, we have an awesome show for everybody this week. Sort of an abbreviated show since we're missing it. We're missing a day of. We're missing
that big Switch Pro announcement. Yes.
That
yes.
big Switch Pro, the Vita 2, and the Xbox VR.
And the Xbox VR. I know.
But it's still going to be a great show this week, even though if it's an abbreviated show. We're going to talk about the surprise Nintendo Direct Mini that dropped today, and we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 that was delayed yet again. But first, before we, let's begin with Matthew McConaughey wanted to play the Hulk in the MCU. Like, what? Really? Really?
I mean,
Came out today.
I mean, was he gonna do? Bust through a wall and go? All right. Just doesn't. He doesn't have the attitude for it.
To be fair, his career started with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Funny enough.
Oh, way back when, yeah.
In '95. I forgot. I think Mississippi Burning, right, is what really put him on the map.
Well, Dazed and Confused too, which was '93, I think. That was a big
Dazed
one
and
for
Confused, but I think Mississippi Burning really put him on a map.
That was it. That was a big movie for him, yeah.
That was a big movie for him, but he shot Texas Chainsaw Massacre before he did. I think it was It was not Mississippi Burning. It was another big movie that he did.
Mm-hmm.
That he had shot, because the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie got delayed for whatever reason was. It got delayed like 2 years, the release, and he tried to stop the delay, or his agents tried to stop the release of that movie, because it was sort of essentially a B movie. It was not going to be an A-list movie, right? And at this point, he was like a darling overnight, and they thought that would hurt his career.
Oh yeah, because it's like a schlock movie, right? It's just
and whatever happened, I mean, he lost that battle because they were going to release the movie, and it didn't hurt his career not one bit. But he did play in a horror movie to bring it full circle, right? Like, we're shooting the show in October, so it's still horror. So it's still horror themed. So he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
To be fair, that reboot or remake or sequel, I forgot which one it was, of Texas Chainsaw Massacre was terrible. Just Just to put it out there.
Yeah, I never saw it. I mean, it's got chainsaws in there, so I'm really not going to be jumping on that anytime soon.
And trust me, you didn't miss anything because it was
All
terrible.
right.
But I can't imagine him. I mean, I would love to see him and Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pratt, like, if it was like the big Avengers thing. I can't see him as Bruce Banner. It doesn't work. I can't imagine Matthew McConaughey getting mad and turning green. It just doesn't work. But I guess he really liked the character and he wanted to play. And Marvel Studios was the one that passed on him, even though he was a big name.
Right. Well, to be fair, I don't think anybody thought that Mark Ruffalo would make a good Hulk. I was like, you mean the dude from all the romantic comedies and indie movies? That guy? I'm like, no, but he made it work. So
think about it. Marvel had Ed Norton, a big movie star, A-list movie star in my book, at least at the time, and he wanted, for the Hulk solo movie, and he wanted more control, which didn't work out, right? Like there was fighting for control.
Yeah, he wanted
to tell a Bruce Banner story.
Right. Well, I mean, I think also too, like he's a good actor who stars in very good movies. He makes good choices. He wants to make sure that what he does isn't silly. He doesn't want Thor. He wants Iron Man 1, right? He wants, sure, he's playing a superhero, but he wants a good quality superhero movie. Sometimes they do make bad choices,
Well,
so I get it.
They have the rights. We talked about this maybe 6 months ago. Maybe, the MCU Disney has the rights, the full rights to the Hulk back from Universal.
Right. So they got to make a Hulk movie.
They can make a Hulk movie. I just don't know if they're going to.
I mean, like at this point, it's a little hard. Like it's about time for the Hulk to retire, I think, because the Hulk's been around in the MCU proper since Avengers, right? That's where they met up with him. And
Ed Norton's Hulk is canon.
Yeah, technically, and they did reference it in the last movie, in Avengers Endgame, but they really don't mention it.
They don't talk about it, but it is canon because in Avengers Endgame, the Colonel was in it. Right,
and that's it. As an aside cameo, wink, nod. Yes, we remember that there was an Ed Norton movie, but you really can't reference anything from that because it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily steps on any timelines or anything.
Tony Stark was in that movie at the end.
Yes, as a cameo. Yes, it's very very loosely tied in. Because they don't ever, besides those two things, it really never gets referenced. But even if you take that into account,
I like Mark Ruffalo, but it's so good if Ed Norton and Robert Downey Jr. together, that would have been awesome.
Well, sure, but even if you take that first movie into account, which actually makes my point even stronger, he's been around for 10 years. The Hulk, right? That particular character, Ruffalo's played him. Maybe now 6, maybe 7 years, right? Since whenever the first Avengers movie came out. And he's getting up there in age a little bit. It may be close to time to retiring that character, right? They retired Captain America. They retired Iron Man, right?
No. Listen. Robert Downey Jr.
They did.
He made a lot of money. He's getting a lot of residual paychecks right now. And he's just like, maybe I can come back in an alternate universe and surprise everybody like a Spider-Man movie. Which we hope, but he's like, you know what? I'm good. Chris.
Well, I think it was
Captain
also.
America,
I think it was a combination of the two.
Captain America historically was the one that died in the Avengers, right? In the comic books, but he retired just because he didn't want to play in the role anymore. He was.
There's that too. There's that too. But you got to bring new blood in, right? You don't want to have a 70-year-old. Captain America flying around.
Why not? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Okay, yeah. You can go and see that movie. You can go and see that movie. You can go and see that movie. I'm good.
You would go see it too.
I'm good.
Stop kidding yourself.
All right. Anyway.
All right. We have to get into the delay train. This show is about the delay train, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show.
All aboard.
But I definitely want to give an honorable mention to Far Cry 6. It's officially been delayed until March 2021. It was slated for a 2020 release. They never really have a release date, if I correctly.
I didn't think it was coming out this year, honestly.
But it was slated for a 2020 release, but now they're saying it's been delayed. So due to COVID, obviously. So no surprise there. And you know what? A delay just means the game's going to be better. Don't rush the game out. That's
100%. 100%. You know, let them work their magic, you know?
So, Dave, as we always try to start the show but epically fail, what have you been playing?
Oh. Well, we all know that Super Mario 35, the limited edition Mario Battle Royale game, has dropped. If you haven't downloaded it and you own a Switch, what are you doing? Download this game. It's fantastic. And I did it, Dan. I took that number 1 spot. I beat it. Got the gold.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
As Borat would say on Borat 2, which wasn't as funny as the first one. Nice.
Very nice. Oh, Borat 2 was great.
Borat 2 was good.
Borat 2
was good.
Great.
It just wasn't. I don't think it was as funny as the first one. Because the first one, no one knew who he was, right?
Yeah, there was some good bits in there. We could definitely we could.
Wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying it wasn't as good as the first one. Because people knew who he was, and he even acknowledged that in the movie where he's like, "Yeah, people know who I am. I have to disguise myself."
Yeah, which was great. It was a double disguise. But anyway, yeah. So I beat it. I got the gold. I actually got the gold last week, but I forgot to mention it on the show. So I was like, you know what? I could wait on that. And I've been like consistently getting like top 4. Like,
and I got top 3. I haven't really played the game as
that's
much.
Good stuff, man.
I didn't play the game this week. I forgot to mention it last week, but I got 3rd place.
Yeah, it was weird too, because like, well, now everybody's like good, right? And like in like the beginning, people would fall off like right away because nobody knew what to do, and everyone was just like acting a fool, and they're like, I don't know what's going on right now. And I was like, after the first and second game, I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. I'm good, right? The first game I got
you're a pro. Now you're a pro.
Yeah. The first game I think I got 4th place, and I was like, oh, this is easy. But now everybody's good, so like the matches last like more than 2 minutes, and you
can always say you got 1st place.
Yeah, I mean, it got down to like the top 4, and then after that, I didn't look at anybody else. I'm just like laser focused on what's in front of me, and I was just in the zone. And the next thing I know, I hear the ding, and I'm like, "What happened? What happened?" And then the flagpole noise, and I'm like, yeah, I was grinning ear to ear. So it's good. It's good. And I don't know if you know about the little secret in the game. But if you unlock all of the stages, and the next time you play, if you hold down the left trigger, you will play as Luigi. So Luigi is in the game. It was real.
I know that.
It was real.
Okay.
Fun little aside. I've only got up to 5-1 unlocked. I don't know how to get the other stages. I guess nobody's picking the more difficult stages, but they need to, because I need to get that Luigi. But anyway.
You have 4 more months to try and do it.
I know. Hopefully I can get there.
5 more months.
Hopefully I can get there. So
okay.
So what have you been playing, Dan?
I've been a little light. I'm not gonna lie. I've been playing something that potentially could be something I play on. I'll talk about on Saturday Morning Retro, so I don't want to talk about that too much. But I definitely been playing on Vita more often, playing PlayStation All Stars, and more recently been playing Spy Hunter on a Vita, which is
interesting.
A really good game. It's a really good game.
Yeah.
I wish the Rock had the movie out with Spy Hunter, because he was in the Spy Hunter game on the Xbox
and PlayStation.
Which I have.
That's right.
The movie never came out, but I do have the Vita version of this game. I don't know if it's a remake of the PS2 Spy Hunter game, but
I would assume. I don't know. Yeah. Because I mean, like, if it came out around the time of the PS2 and Xbox version, it would be a PSP game, because it was like mid 2000s, I think. So I think there's maybe like a sequel or a reimagining of that game, maybe, or an extended edition. I'm not sure.
The game is pretty good. You do the missions. try to get the point A to point B. It's just like Knight Rider, right? Where sort of like you have to get to the truck. You got to steal something and get to the truck where all the armor, it can protect you from the outside world, and you can customize your car and the different weapons you have. I kind of like it. You have if you press triangle, you have the gun because that's in front of you. The triangle's at the top of the Vita, right, on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pick the bottom, which is the X or the cross, as we talked about, that's the fire, where you can blow fire from the back. So it's funny, is like triangles at the top, so that's what you can use to defend yourself if someone's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You have the X or the cross, which is at the bottom, which indicates the back of the car, which you can use to fire weapons, to back of you if someone's behind you. And you have the square, which is on the left hand side, which you can use if someone is on the left hand side of you, and then you have the what's on the right hand side? I can't think off the top of my head. What's that?
Circle.
On the right-hand side? The circle. There you go.
Circle.
You have the circle, which is a weapon that comes out if you're on the right hand side of you. So I thought that was pretty clever and pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah,
All right.
time trials on there too, which not a lot. I mean, I've only played like 3 hours of it. I haven't played too much of it yet. I don't know how long the game is at all because I haven't checked the walkthrough or anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the game is it's a recommend, must get if you have a PS Vita. I would get this game. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And just like the Sonic racing games, there are portions. So far, I haven't got a portion if I'm in the air, but I've definitely got a portion when you're in the water, and then your high-powered car turns into a high-powered, boat.
Oh, that's classic. They had that in the original, right? You could go right off the dock, and then the car transforms, which was badass.
Oh, I never played the original Spy on it.
Oh my God, it's classic, man. I played the arcade one a little bit, which was great because it was like an actual steering wheel with like little triggers and buttons. But I mostly played the Commodore 64 home version, and they had a badass version of the Peter Gunn theme, which is like where it's at, the little bass.
Okay.
Such a good song.
I would recommend definitely play this game with Vita. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be on the lookout for it.
So why don't we take a break?
Mm-hmm.
When we come back, we're getting to the top gaming news of the 4 days of last week.
What's up, everyone? This is Lily Zaldivar from Viz Media, and you're listening to the Rated G for Gamers podcast.
And we're back. All right, let's get into the top gaming news of last week. We have to start with our lead story. That is a surprise, shocking Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase. Say that 10 times fast. That came out of nowhere. We didn't know we were going to get this. It just dropped. It was pretty good. I don't want to go through every single game that they had, but let's go over the highlights, shall we? They definitely announced Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo, which leaked 2 days earlier, which was going to be a story on the show. But then they had the Nintendo Direct Mini, which said, hey, the demo's out now.
There it is.
So,
there it is. Have you downloaded it yet? Have you played it yet?
I have not played it yet. I will be playing it after the show.
I got it queued up as well, man. It's gonna be a weekend play for sure.
I definitely can't wait, and I think the saves transfer, so that's exciting.
Oh, really?
I always like it when you have a demo and the saves from the demo transfer.
Mm-hmm.
That always works for me.
That's kind of a rare situation nowadays, right? They normally don't do that.
We got that. We got a look. Oh, talk about the delay bug. Bravely Default 2 was delayed until 2021. Remember, it was supposed to come out during the holiday season, but it officially got delayed until 2021. The zombie apocalypse will do that to you. So, no surprise there.
It affects us all, no matter what people want to tell you.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the most exciting things was we got a look at No More Heroes 3. We got new footage of that. But No More Heroes 1 and No More Heroes 2 that came out on the Wii are both out now. Port it to the Switch if you want it.
That's fantastic. It's only digital though, right? I don't think they're not doing physical for it.
It's as of right now, it's only digital, but I would love if No More Heroes 1 and 2 came with the No More Heroes 3 physically. That would be great if it was all in the cart.
Oh yeah, probably not going to happen, but I would be right there with you.
Know what?
I'd
You
be
never
right there
know.
with you.
You never know.
Right there with you.
So that was awesome. And I think for the most part, this partner's mini direct was a showcase of cloud gaming all over, right? So we got Hitman 3 announced for the Switch, but it was a cloud version coming to the Switch. And the biggest surprise was Control the Ultimate Edition cloud version coming to the Switch.
Right. It's they did this with Assassin's Creed in Japan. They did it with Resident Evil 7 in Japan. You could stream it and play it on your Switch. So it was really just like a display in that case. Those didn't come here, but Hitman 3 and Control are coming to the US, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And it's a smart maneuver, right? So like you can play it on the Switch, but you're not using the horsepower of the Switch. You're using a server somewhere, and it's just you get it over the pipe. You know, it comes over the internet. So as long as your internet's good, you can play this kind of beautiful 1080p ray traced DLSS version of Control.
Where is it coming over though? Where is it coming over? It's coming over to what?
It's coming over the pipe, Dan.
The pipe. I don't.
It's coming over the pipe. That's what the internet is, Dan. Yeah, underneath the ocean.
It's the pipe. Yo.
Underneath the ocean. No. Underneath the ocean are these giant pipes.
Just like in Gilligan's Island. Just like in Gilligan's Island.
No, not just like in Gilligan's Island. They literally have hundreds and thousands and millions of miles of pipe underneath the ocean, and that's how everything is connected. It's not all through the air because that's very slow. So it's hardwired, and they
the pipe. And they call it the pipe. They call it the pipe.
Well, look it up online. Look it up online. Look how.
I just want to know what they call it.
Look up online how the internet is connected. How all the countries are connected, and you see all the pipes and all that. It's the making. It's the making for a James Bond movie.
It must suck to do maintenance on the pipe.
Thankfully they haven't. I think there was some issues with some of the pipes, but I think there's enough redundancy, and they're built in such a way that they almost never break. Really? You kind of really have to do it once and be done with it. You don't really get a second chance at that.
All right. Well, I hope they have a lot of pipes going to Australia, because apparently Aussie gamers will be locked out of the Switch cloud-based future because Hitman 3 and Control Ultimate Edition will not be playable through the cloud in Australia, but just because they don't have the infrastructure to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry for all Australia fans out there. You won't be able to play Nintendo Switch games through the cloud.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
It kind of says something about first world nations and all that, right? It's like, sure, like, first world nation, you think, oh yeah, we're like the best in everything. We're number one in this and that. It's like, well, not necessarily. You need to spend money on your infrastructure, right? You need to spend money on roads and bridges and railways and utilities like the internet. And you have to keep reinvesting and making it better. So like people have a way to like connect. And we're like, the U.S. is pretty good. The U.S. has nothing on Japan, though. Japan is like, everything is wired.
Japan and China, everything is wired.
China too, yeah. China spends a lot on the infrastructure.
You can pay through your phone in Japan and China like back 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Compared to just doing it in the U.S. like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What else is crazy is I never thought this would happen, but Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed yet again. And
you were being sarcastic there. I see.
And it's gone gold, and it's been delayed.
Sure.
It's been delayed. It is now coming out, not in November, but December 10th. By the way,
right.
All the major video game outlets are trying to decide, because this game takes a lot of time, right? They're equating the time it takes to actually play the full game. If this will count for the game of the year for this year, Jeff Keighley's already tweeted this, is excluded from the game of the year talk of 2020.
Right. It's got to be in before the
2021.
end of November, I think, right? I think that's their cutoff.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think the last week of November.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it is the cutoff for game of the year talk. So is that gonna be nominated for game of the year for the Game Awards? And a lot of like GameSpot, IGN, a lot of people are trying to decide if it will be in the game of the year talk for them, because a bunch of people, a bunch of the staff need to be able ample time to actually play the game.
You got to get into it. Yeah, you need enough time to actually say, okay, this is game of the year. I put enough time into it, and here's why. Yeah, I get it. And I feel for CD Projekt Red. They have no less than 9 different versions to optimize for and build for, right?
Well, all the rumors, they did say that it is the reason why it's being delayed is because they need to optimize it for different platforms. But all the rumors suggest that it needs to be, because it's not in a good state on the original beta machine Xbox One. And I'm gonna assume maybe the original OG PS4 as well, but all the rumors talk about the Xbox because it needs to be playable on the original Xbox. That's why that's the real reason why it's being delayed, so they can do bug fixes on that. So I can't wait until Halo Infinite and other games come out, and and will be delayed because they need to make sure it's available. It's available to play at least in the playable state on 7-year-old hardware. So
Yeah, that's
hardware. That's gonna hold it back.
All that's definitely not going to last very long. I don't care what Phil Spencer said, but it's going to be an anchor, right? It was a great idea. Like, look, all the games need to be cross-generational when the system comes out. That's like great. The fact that you can play all your previous games is great, right? Their backwards compatibility support is 100. But 2 years out, 3 years out, and you're still like, the game's got to run on the original Xbox. Yeah, that's just not gonna happen. I mean, they're already discontinuing the original Xbox, right? Like, you can't get that, and you can't get
a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's they've already started doing the work to phase it out, right? You can't get the One, and you can't get the 1S, I think, either, right? That's also being discontinued, I think.
Yeah.
In favor of the Series S, which is only $300, right? That's like the affordable price point. You got to jump on board and get that. So, hopefully they can get it down. I mean, obviously 3, right? The 1X, the Series S, and the Series X. Hopefully they can get it down to 2, just the Series S and the Series X. And then they'll be in a much better spot, for like developers and also for Microsoft, because they have to put out the tools to support this. So it's crazy.
I mean, it's a noble idea, but they need to stop, because this is going to hold back games, right? Look at PlayStation. Yeah. PlayStation actually, the new sort of like CEO of like PlayStation was on the record recently, in saying that they're going to support the PS4 for 2 years, right? At least until 2022. Which just tells me that certain games will come out for the PS4, but most games, because PlayStation, at least at this point, believes in duration gaps. So
they were famous in saying that we're going to support the PS1 for 10 years, and they did that with the PS2 too. It lasted 10 years. They were putting out games and providing support and all that for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is not going to last long. I think after at the end of this time next year, we're not going to hear about the beta machine Xbox One. No, that's going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And at the end of 2022, they're not going to think about the Xbox One X. That's going to be a thing of the past too, because it's just going to hold back games.
Exactly.
I mean, and look, Xbox has 2 different SKUs, which have 2 different sort of benchmark parts that have 2 different innards, right? Like the Series X and the Series S are essentially kind of 2 different machines, right? With 2 different types of internal architecture. I mean, look at Devil May Cry 5, the special edition that's digital only. Obviously, it's gonna have ray tracing and everything on the Xbox Series X, but on the Series S, it's not even gonna have that. And his talks that the Series S, certain games won't be 4K resolution on the Series S, right?
Yeah,
because it's a lower spec machine.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, to that end, a couple of things, like even the games on PS5 and the Series X are going to have performance mode and like visual quality mode or whatever, right? So you'll be able to toggle between them, and they're going to definitely change some things, I think we talked about it last week with Dirt 5. You put it in performance mode, and that gets you up to 120 hertz, but you lose like half the crowd, and you lose some effects and some of the ray tracing stuff and all that. So, it's really trying to find the right balance, right? What is the best balance of quality, visual fidelity, quality, and also performance, right? And how does that scale for each system? On the Series S, obviously, it's going to be a little bit trimmed down. On the Series X, you're going to get, you're probably going to get some ray tracing in some games, and you're going to get 60 frames and maybe 120, if they can kind of eke out the performance out of the system. So, and I think the same is for the PS5, right? Granted, both systems are the same. One's just digital, one's not, but they're gonna do some. I think like one of the things they do is they do variable resolution. So it kind of scales and changes based on the particular scenes. So when you're in like tight corridors and there's not a lot going on, you can get 1080p or 4K or 1440. When you get to the big wide shots, they may scale it down a little bit, to give you more performance because there's a lot to render on the screen. So, and I think a lot of that has to do with the engines, right? We know that the Yakuza like a Dragon game is only running at 900p, I think, on the Xbox, right?
Yes.
And because it's a very poorly optimized engine, it doesn't scale very well. So even on like the Series X and all that, it's not going to be a great experience with that game. So, yeah.
Well, let's shift gears and talk about Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Dogs Legion. There were actually earlier reports earlier this week or earlier last week that Xbox Legion is sort of a cross-generational game. It's played on the Xbox One X, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X.
Yep.
But the Xbox version, which is the one that they were touting reviewers to play it on, right, was overheating and crashing the system. Ironically enough, after 5 hours, you get to mission 404. The system would crash because it's overheating. Because it would overheat.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Which is kind of funny. Funny.
So
they have since patched this, right?
Yep.
So if you bought Watch Dogs Legion as of today, because it's out today.
Yep.
The day one patch stops the it alleviates the overheating for the Xbox version.
Yeah,
So
which is great. Ubisoft kind of jumped on that, and they're like, "Look, we got it. Just download the patch. It's all good." So they ended up squashing that, which is great.
Yeah, which just reinforces why I bought this. Why I'm going to buy this for the PS4.
Why? It doesn't matter. They patched it out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's not an issue anymore.
Then I play mission 407, and then everything overheats and shuts down.
Oh my god!
I'm good. I'm just gonna get. Listen, I got Anthem. I didn't want to get Anthem for the PlayStation.
Oh yeah. Well, that was legit an issue that took them a while to fix.
All right, and then same thing here. The Xbox, the version gets overheated and just shuts down. So that's why I'm gonna get it for the PlayStation.
Yeah, but they fixed it. All right.
And they fixed the Anthem version too. But I'm still
eventually,
good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need any of my systems to break down. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah. No. You never want to take that chance.
Never want to take that chance. All right, let's stick with Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been lots of talk for the last 3-4 weeks about will Bethesda games be exclusive to the Xbox console, right? Because Microsoft was on record saying that they were buying ZeniMax for $7 billion.
That's right. 7.5, I think.
And Phil Spencer has been on the fence. He hasn't really committed to any type of, he hasn't been committed to anything about, what would happen to Bethesda games. And now we know why. Because Xbox hasn't actually purchased ZeniMax for $7.5 billion yet. Okay? They have announced that they're going to buy Bethesda, ZeniMax. But just like when you do a trade in sports, right? I mean, if Tom Brady is traded to another team or anything like that, the trade it's announced they have come to an agreement. The trade hasn't actually gone through because obviously you have to take a physical. It needs to go through the league approval for a league approval. Same thing here. Nobody needs to take a physical. I don't think Phil Spencer needs to go to the doctor or anything. But $7 billion, I'm sure Microsoft has to liquidate some things so they can get actual $7 billion. They can write a $7 billion check, and it needs to go through government approval. So this deal won't actually go through until early next year, according to Phil Spencer, which is when I think we will start to hear certain games will be Xbox exclusive. I would say in E3 2021. What do you think?
I think you're right. Because, I mean, there's a lot of games that are in the hopper right now, right, that have been in production that have cross-platform and, like, whatever else, they've, like, put a lot of R&D and a lot of work into it. So I think, Bethesda as a company, if they're smart, hey, look, these games are close to going gold, or, we put a lot of work into this particular platform. We don't just want to throw all this stuff away. We want to get these games out. We want to make as much money as possible, right? That's what Bethesda is hoping for, right? And Microsoft, I guess, in a way, doesn't want to alienate any PlayStation fans, right? Which is really like the competing platform, right? And I guess Nintendo to like a lesser degree, right? If they're doing like a Doom port or a Wolfenstein port. So you want to make the transition amicable, right? You don't just you don't just want to say no more games for PlayStation, no more games for Switch. You want to kind of ease.
By the way, it's no more games. It's over. Doom 3, Wolfenstein 3.
Well, those are games that aren't in production yet. No.
StarCraft.
Bethesda's not StarCraft. Bethesda's not StarCraft. Activision has StarCraft.
Oh, that's what was that new RPG that they have coming out?
Starfield.
Starfield.
Well, that's who even knows when that's coming out. Yeah.
And Elder Scrolls, all Xbox Series X exclusives.
Well, sure. You got to get those big ones. But I mean, if there's something that's like a couple months out or a half a year out or even like maybe a year out, you may see those come out for those systems, And then it's like, all right, now you're in the family, right? You can't talk to the other crime bosses. You can't talk to the head of Sony. You can't talk to the head of Nintendo. Like, you're working for us now, which is great for Microsoft. It's certainly going to give them a lot of sales. You better believe that Elder Scrolls is a system seller.
Deathloop is going to definitely be straight. I mean, they said they were going to honor their exclusivity to PS5, right? And PlayStation did a great thing. We have our first PS5 PlayStation Plus game, which is Bugsnax. Is going to be out next year, next month. Sorry, for the PS5.
That'll be the first game It'll be the first game I don't play in the PS5.
It's going to be two PS4 games and a PS5 game. I still think they're going to add PSVR support for that eventually.
For the
comes out, yeah.
For the Bugsnax game.
No. I'm just saying. I think we're going to get for the PSVR 2, we're going to get like PSVR games for the
PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a big enough install base, for sure.
I think we'll get one game. It'll be one. It's not going to be two.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I just think it's a matter of time before all of unless the deal doesn't go through, that's a different story.
Then it doesn't matter. Then they're back to cross-platform. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't think
it's a matter of time before all these games will be exclusive.
Yeah, I mean that's you have to make good on your purchase, right? And Microsoft will get more system sales and get more users and have a bigger
Game
installed
Pass,
base.
baby. That's all
And
they
Game
care
Pass.
about.
Well, that too. You know, Elder Scrolls on Game Pass day one. That is fantastic. People will go nuts over that, and it will be a system seller. They have some of the best games.
All right, let's end the show with something hilarious. And this is like the funniest thing I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And I gotta be honest,
we need it nowadays. We need it.
I gotta give credit to Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. Really leaning into those memes, right?
When the Series X first came out, one of the biggest memes was people thought the Series X looked like a big ass refrigerator. Mm-hmm. So Microsoft, in turn, said, you know what? We're gonna release a Series X refrigerator, and they did, and they sent it to a bunch of influencers. And it's the funniest thing ever. They sent it inside a big ass Xbox Series X box.
Yeah.
It is a refrigerator the size of the series, in the shape of the Series X.
Yeah, it is a straight up like real working fridge. It's great.
It is. It's so funny. I want this. I wish I had this.
Yeah, well, you know they're going to be going for a lot because the influencers aren't going to keep them. They're definitely going to sell them or give them away.
I love it that you open the door and they have donuts, sushi, and a big Series X inside of it. I want a Series X refrigerator.
I hope they ship that with a power source because you don't want to eat 2-day-old sushi.
So all we need now is Sony to lean into their memes and release PS5 routers.
Oh God, yeah, like a Netgear or D-Link.
Oh, that would be so perfect. That would be perfect. I would use it. It would look so good next to the PS5. A small.
I mean,
PS5
it would be matching, right? It would be matching.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's funny. But
that's funny. I gotta give credit to the PR team,
right?
The advertising team at Microsoft.
They know what's up.
Into it. It was hilarious, and I loved it. It was awesome. I want one now.
Kudos, Microsoft. Would you actually use it as your main fridge?
I would.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. No, I would put it in the game room.
Put it in the game room,
but not put nothing but beers and sangria.
Oh, you're not gonna put G Fuel in there? Gamer Fuel?
No. Beers and sangria. So we have a game night.
I get down. I get down with that.
Go to the Series X fridge.
There you go. Pop out a nice, delicious Blue Moon. So good. Blue Moon Oktoberfest. Good stuff. All right. Well, on that joyous, happy, fun note, and it is definitely a good one in this day and age. That ends episode 242. We want to thank all of you wonderful fans for sticking with us, listening to the show, doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. And don't forget, we are giving away one copy of Cyberpunk 2077 for the system of your choice, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or PC. To enter, you must be following us on YouTube, like this video, and drop a comment on what you're looking forward to in Cyberpunk in the comments section. Remember, you can enter once per episode up until the launch of the game, and this contest is open to U.S. residents only. Good luck to all who enter. And finally, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, subscribe, and get out there and vote. And as always,
go vote and keep gaming.